From Netanyahu coming to Washington, D.C., to rioters destroying priceless historical artifacts. I mean, peaceful protesters making their voice heard in the streets of D.C. Also in the news, we have the media backtracking on trying to take down the rhetoric. The attempted assassination happened nearly 2 weeks ago, and they are already trying to forget that the situation even happened and why the situation even happened. All of that and more on today's episode.
Facts over tracks, isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Starting off, a few days ago, Bibi Netanyahu came to Washington, D.C. to speak in front of Congress. Overall, it was an excellent speech. We're going to get into all of the things later on. What sucks the most is the Democrats decided not to show up in Congress when Zelensky showed up to speak. VP Harris and Nancy Pelosi held up the Ukrainian flag, not the American flag. It was an utter disgrace. It's one thing to hold signs peacefully, but to burn the American flag and to spray paint the Liberty Bell is worthy of exile. A truly disgusting thing happened. Priceless artifacts got defaced, and the protesters get arrested, but then get let out of jail. That's because of the fact that we have multiple police unions, multiple police agencies across America that just do not care about the law and order of America at all. They do not care about stopping crime. They do not care about actually helping us, the people. They do not care about any of that. That's the most disgusting thing here, because when somebody breaks the law, they should be held accountable. Let's just say that if you have a firearm and you do not use the firearm properly, you are going to be held accountable to the full extent of the law. Let's just say if you are a person that wants to be responsible with a firearm, but then all of a sudden you get a magazine that holds more rounds than you are supposed to, you're going to be held accountable to the full extent of the law. But if you are a left-wing person protesting and you go to the state capitol and then you start burning down buildings, you start burning American flags, nothing's going to be happening to you whatsoever. And you can promise that fact because during the 2020 protesters, nothing happened. You remember how we had a whole entire summer of protesters? What happened from that? Absolutely nothing. Remember what happened just a few days ago in Washington, D.C.? All of those people that were allegedly getting arrested are not arrested now. And then not only that, but then they are let out of jail if they are arrested. So it's a very disgusting thing. It's a very despicable thing. And the fact that our lawmakers in America just do not care about the rule of law so much that they will ignore this is truly disgusting. And the fact that you even have a choice to be in Congress that day is a crazy thing here. On one of the most important days of my work, I cannot choose to be absent on that day. So you are a congressman, a House of Representative member. You are in Congress for a reason, right? Nonetheless, if you're in the Senate or you're a House of Representative member, you are in the Congress for a reason. You must show up. You should show up every single day unless you are sick. That's what I think. So if you want to be in the Senate, I don't know, 6-7 years, you can't take a whole entire month off. You can't say, I'm just not going to vote. You can't choose not to vote. Your job is to vote. Your job is to be there for the American people and the people that you represent. That's why you should show up. So the fact that these people chose not to show up while Bibi Netanyahu is there, thinking that they actually have a choice here, is truly disgusting. Now, Bibi Netanyahu got in some funny lines here. So during the speech, he was saying that, listen, I just don't get why all of these people are, particularly on the gay side, gays for Gaza. It's like chickens for KFC. And that's 100% true. If you go to Gaza as a gay person, or if you are gay in Gaza, switcheroo right here, it's the same exact thing here. If you are gay in Gaza, you get thrown off of buildings. If you are gay in mostly any Middle Eastern country, you are killed. Right? If you are gay in Israel, do they care? No. No, they do not care. It's just like America, how you have the rights to live how you want to live. But if you are found out to be gay and having a gay relationship in Gaza, in any Qatar, in any of these Middle Eastern countries that are Arabic ruled, you are exiled, you are killed, you are thrown out of the country, or you're thrown out of a 50-floor window. You're killed. So, That's the stark difference here. It just does not make any sense to be gay for Gaza. It just does not make any sense here. Nonetheless, destroying our American historical artifacts that cannot be replaced, like the Liberty Bell, destroying other things here, that is just not okay. It's just despicable that you think that you have the right to vandalize and write on our historical artifacts. You should be thrown in jail. That's the bare minimum. You should have a one-way ticket to Gaza. That's exactly what should happen. You lose your privilege to be an American citizen once you destroy priceless artifacts that cannot be replaced. Who gave you the right to do that? The Liberty Bell? Spray painting the Liberty Bell, spray painting other artifacts in DC. You see, and it's just such a bad thing too, because on the left, all of these people that are doing this have no life. They have no job. They do not have any responsibility, so they can just get up on a limb, go to DC, and do whatever the heck that they want. Bust in there, they'll get bussed in. They'll get everything paid for by big organizations that are pro left wing policies here. And there is even reports of Iran actually paying for all of these people to do so. And not only this protest, but other protests too. So now, are we going to really sit here and say that this is a good thing for America? No, it's not a good thing for America. And the fact that the media just spent the last couple of weeks sitting here saying we need to tone down the rhetoric, turn down the rhetoric, turn around the rhetoric, and then they completely do a 180 just a few short weeks after. It's just, the media lies to you time and time again. The media does not care if they are telling the truth or they are lying. They have a motive, they have a narrative, and that's it. They will go with that narrative no matter what. They will steamroll you, the American people, to actually get that motive and that narrative out to you. And they'll perceive it as they're being non-biased and stuff like that, but that's just not true. They're not being non-biased when they're sitting here making up falsehoods on behalf of the Democratic Party. Time and time again, they do the same exact situations. It's disgusting. Now, let's move into the headlines of the week. So, digging right into exactly what I was just talking about here, we have a New York Post article. We have anti-Israeli infiltrators unleashed maggots and crickets at Israeli delegation hotel ahead of Netanyahu's speech. Thousands of anti-Israeli protesters flooded Washington, D.C. during the city's fountains blood red, and even unleashing maggots as well as other creepy crawlers at a hotel where some of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's delegation stayed ahead of his Wednesday speech in Congress. A video posted to X by the Palestinian Youth Movement showed moving critters scattered across the table flanked by Israeli and American flags. Palestinian protesters manufactured chaos at the Watergate Hotel last night, so Netanyahu, Israeli Mossad agents, and Secret Service had no place as they continued to terrorize our people, the organization posted on X, which is just disgusting. The fact that you can terrorize a world leader and our police can't stop you. Yeah, they're purposefully not giving police the right equipment, the right personnel to battle these people. We have seen multiple videos of DC police just getting up and leaving the scene because they do not have enough police force. So in Washington, D.C., they are defunding the police so much that they do not even have enough police force to actually stop the crime. Just despicable. It's just utterly disgusting. I can't. The Watergate Hotel confirmed the unfortunate infiltration in a statement to the Post. Our top priority is the safety and well-being of our guests and staff. We took the necessary steps to ensure the property has been sanitized and is now operating as normal. See, the security footage of this hotel should find exactly who released these disgusting bugs into the hotel, and they should be charged every single penny, and they should be put on a no hotel staying list. They are banned from every single major hotel in America, and that's exactly what should happen. And they should be charged with a crime, and they should go to jail. That's the list of things that should happen to these very people, and that's just the beginning. We are cooperating fully with the authorities, and we're handling the situation as this is an open case, and we're unable to provide any further details at this time. A law enforcement source told the Post, even though the conference room appeared to be set up for official business, it was not part of our agreed upon security plan with the Israeli security services and our local partners. Secret Service spokesman Abel Trevino, a rep for the Public Safety Joint Information Center working on the visit, said the Watergate facility has an expansive footprint and remains open for business, residents, and guests. At no time was there a threat to our protectees. What are you talking about here? They released bugs into the hotel. There's no threat to the protectees. Like, the Secret Service has been a failure since the attempted assassination of former President Trump. The Secret Service cannot get their stuff together here. It's like, how did anyone that is unauthorized get access to the hotel at all? That's just crazy here. On Capitol Hill, thousands gathered to decry President Biden and Netanyahu's handling of the Israeli-Hamas war. Okay, but then they're not going to realize the fact that Hamas still has hostages till today. If they wanted this war to be over, they only have to just release the hostages. Whoa. So a hostage deal means that the hostages get released alive. If they're not alive, then you do not have any upper hand in this argument here. You had one job, and that is to release the hostages. No, the one job was actually to get the hostages in the first place. It's like somebody goes into a bank, they have a hostage situation, they're trying to actually, kill everybody unless they get all the money. They have some demands. They're giving that to the police officers. The police officers are trying to figure out how they can actually shoot and kill the hostage person, the person that's trying to hold everyone hostage here. So they're trying to figure out how they can just snipe this person and eliminate this person here. But then while they're doing that, they're giving the sniper or the hostage person a false hope that they're actually going to get something at the end of this, which is not very true at all, because you're not going to get anything at the end of this, except for life in prison and I think the death penalty. But the thing is, at the same exact time here, you're not going to give them anything. That's the thing. You're not negotiating with the hostage. You're just telling them, listen, you're going to let go of these people. That's what exactly you're going to do, because of the fact that you're going to, if you're not going to do so, then you will get killed. I mean, that's just what it is. Obviously, you don't tell the person that's trying to hold everyone hostage that. Instead, what you do is you actually try to give them false hope, like I was just saying. But the thing is, here, you're not supposed to take the hostages in the very first place. Banks are supposed to have things in place to actually prevent this from happening. They have bulletproof glass. They have locked doors. They have coded doors. They have security features that they can just call the police immediately, and then the police just come right away. So there's security features that these banks have to make sure that this does not actually happen here. So number one step is to not have this happen in the very first place, which Israel tried to do, but of course that's not always the case. But then step two is to actually try to get rid of the person that's actually holding these people hostage. That's number two. Number three, if that is not successful, then you give them this false hope of you actually getting something at the end of it, trying to come to a hostage deal. Like, if you let us get 2 people, then we'll give you this much money, or so on and so forth. And then you try to get more and more people until everybody is out of there. So that's, of course, the thing that's going to happen here. But the thing is, at the end of the day here, what ends up happening is the people get released. Right? And that's exactly what you want to happen. And if the people do not get released, then you have no upper hand. So Hamas does not want to get rid of or release the hostages that they have here, because their deal is to be left alone. But after doing that, you can't be left alone. It's like the hostage is like the person that held all these people hostage and now saying, okay, just let me go home now. What do you mean just let you go home? You just broke multiple laws here. You just killed people. In Hamas's deal, you just sexually assaulted so many people, and now we're just supposed to just, oh, well, it's okay. Let bygones be bygones. Like, what are you even talking about? It just does not make any sense. So, of course, all of these people that are protesting in Washington, D.C., the police are trying to pepper spray them. They're trying to make sure that these people get out of the streets because they decided to terrorize and they decided to set up camp. Yeah, protesting with signs is perfectly legal, but when that protesting with signs turns into actual touching and actual destruction, then that's a total different thing here because we cannot allow that in America. Why would we allow this in America? So moving into the next article, we actually have a Federalist article. We have pro-Hamas rioters in D.C. vindicate J.D. Vance's view of America, which I completely agree with. When pro-Hamas rioters on Wednesday ripped down and burned the American flag outside of the Union Station in Washington, D.C., and graffiti, they unintentionally made a case for what Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance said at the RNC last week, that America isn't just an idea, but it's a place where people with a shared history and a common future. Vance ruffled some feathers when he said that, provoking instant outrage and predictability, vague assertions of racism. Even Vance's simple desire to be buried in his family cemetery in Kentucky, a commonplace of human existence across millennia, was greeted with sneers from the corporate press about how it was an Easter egg of white nationalism, as one MSNBC pundit said, which it doesn't even make any sense here. What ends up happening is when you pass away, you want to be buried with your family members. What are you even talking about? But what he said wasn't racist. It was simply common sense, or at least it once was. We've become accustomed to thinking and speaking about America as if it's merely an idea, nothing more than an abstract proportion divorced from a particular people's history and culture. One might charitably call this the Ellis Islanders view of America, that anyone from anywhere in the world can come here and become an American because we aren't defined by ethnicity or tribe or ancestry, but by creed. If you accept the creed, you become an American. In a narrow sense, this is at least partially true. As noted at Nat conference earlier this month, most people can invoke the idea, are confused about the proportion that it's not just all men are created equal, but a source of proportion, which is Christianity and all that comes with it. That is to say that the proposition at the heart of America is that the American people, whether they come from originally, must affirm and embrace that core tenets of Christian faith. Without the proportion, all men are created equal is just nonsense. What happens when we misapprehend the nature of America's creed is that we slip into the Ellis's Islanders view of America and begin to suppose that anyone from any culture or religion can come here and become American without changing anything about their customs, beliefs, or behaviors. This is where we get the worn out slogan, quote unquote, diversity is our strength, a statement devoid of meaning deployed as a substitute for an actual argument. Which is completely true, by the way. If you come to America and you have your own morals, you have your own rules and regulations, you have everything on your own, then you're not going to have a quote-unquote melting pot of America. What you are going to have is you're going to have one person doing one thing, one person doing another thing, one person doing another thing. We need to come together and say, this is the law, you need to follow these laws. This is the way that we live, you need to follow these things. If you go to any other country, you need to follow their rules and regulations. You need to follow their way of life, because if you don't follow their way of life, then they look at you like you have 9 heads. Like, of course, what ends up happening in other countries is the exact thing that's supposed to happen. But in America, it's looked at as bad. If you go to Japan and try to become a citizen of Japan, you can't. You cannot, as an American, become a citizen of Japan because it's really, really, really challenging to do so. If you're from another country and you want to be a citizen of America, it's very easy to do so. So it's just disgusting here. Of course, this is exactly true. Everything J.D. Vance says about this is completely true because of the fact that we're allowing people that do not care about our country into our country, and then we're wondering why things are going wrong in our country. Of course, things are going wrong in our country because we don't care about the law and order anymore. We don't care about the fact of our history having having a sense of togetherness, having a sense of actually caring about our forefathers and caring about the way that things are going in America, caring about the future of America. So many people say that they just want America to cease to exist. But if it does, then they don't realize that it's just going to turn into another nation that is just full with just disgusting things going on here. If America turned into a third world country, we would not have the life that we live today. It would be a total different nation. That would be the most disgusting thing we could possibly do. So, like I said, one of the most disgusting things we could do is that, but also we can see here that protesters in D.C. actually assaulted the Liberty Bell, just wrote all over it, which is just highly disgusting. If they cannot get this off, then every single person should be charged with a very big crime, if not years and years and years and years and years in prison, because if not, then it's just despicable because of the fact that this is a historical artifact that cannot be replaced. And these are so many other things here that cannot be replaced. And nonetheless, even our American flags, that's against the law to actually set on fire. And of course, people don't care about the law and order. And of course, the Democrats are just here trying to cover themselves again. If we look to this Daily Wire article here, we can see that instead of Governor Newsom, the governor of California, saying now these protests are not good, stuff like that, when you know what he does? He actually says, well, we're actually going to just start cleaning up the streets. While people are not paying attention to California, we're just going to start cleaning up the streets and start removing homeless encampments across California here. So, California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday ordered homeless encampment sweeps across the state after a Supreme Court decision last month gave cities more authority to deal with the issue. Newsom's executive order advises country and city officials to clean up thousands of homeless encampments, although the order did not force officials to do the cleanups. New York Times reported, which is just disgusting. Who's going to do the cleanups then? The state had been hard at work to address the crisis on the streets, Newsom said in a statement. That's not true. You did not care. You stopped people from actually fixing the problem themselves. There are simply no more excuses, he said. It's time for everyone to do their part. So now you're telling everybody to just clean up the streets on themselves, which they were trying to do earlier, but you stopped them, which doesn't make any sense here. The Supreme Court ruled last month that cities can enforce bans on homeless people sleeping outside in public places, even if there's not enough shelter space to accommodate them. Exactly, because it's not a local business owner's fault that a homeless person does not have a job. Why should they suffer and their business get blasted with homeless people sleeping at the front, which would make regular people, normal people that have homes, have normal jobs, trying to just go out to eat, not want to go to that restaurant now because there's a homeless person outside. The original case involved the Oregon town of Grants Pass, which tried to fine people $295 for sleeping outside when tents began crowding the town's public parks. Before the court's decision, homeless encampments continued to spread in California, Oregon, and Washington, while city officials remained limited on what they can do to address the problem, especially since homeless people often refuse. Newsom's order reportedly requires state agencies to work with local governments to house homeless people and to provide them with services, not simply move them along. Newsom's administration has poured about $24 billion into the homeless issue since 2019. That's crazy. $24 billion and the problem is not solved. $24 billion. $24 billion. Billion with a B. And you're telling me the homeless problem only got worse in California? Newsom is a completely... I have no words here. That's an insane amount of money for the problem to only get worse. And people are still on the streets asking for spare change. $24 billion. I can't. $24 billion. And the problem is not solved. What a big failure. Governor Newsom, I really hope that he runs in 2028. Because if he does not run in 2028 to be president, I don't even know what he's doing. That's a failure of a governor. That's more than a failure. That's just ludicrous. $24 billion. See, I'm taken back because $24 billion. I know America in general spends so much money on homelessness, so much money. and homeless people are like, oh no, that's not enough, I want more. How dare you? Me, I work a full-time job. I work 2 full-time jobs to support what I want to do. The thing is, homeless people, what job are you working? And now you expect me, the tax-paying citizen, or we, because probably if you're watching this podcast, you're a hardworking American citizen too. If you are sitting here working your rear end off, and now we just have people doing nothing. We have people doing absolutely nothing. And I'm over here working my teal end off. I'm over here trying to make a living for myself, trying to pay off my bills. And then we have the government coming in here at the end of the year and saying, you owe this much money. And then we have homeless people not even doing anything. If I was to set up camp out in the street right now, well, probably not in the street right now because I'm more in the countryside of things. But if I was to go to a major city and then just set up camp, I would get fined because I have the money. But if I don't have the money, I don't have to pay it. What kind of reverse thing is this? If I wanted to go camping, I need to pay. I can't just go camping and whenever I want. I want to go to a campground, like a nice KOA or a nice like let's just say like I don't know, like a nice campground here. Go camping, I need to pay. Even to go to like a public beach to camp, I need to pay like $300 a day. But then if I go to any major city, I could just set up camp right there outside of a business. Utterly disgusting. I can't. Just poop right there on the street where everybody sees me. I can't. I really can't. I really, really can't. California is just an utter mess, and Governor Newsom is not helping the situation at all. It's just a complete poop show. I can't. With that being said, we do have a message that I sent the Massachusetts governor a couple of days ago. Now, I recorded this on my main camera, but the main camera the footage didn't end up recording for some reason, so I have it on this main camera here. Please excuse that. I left this message to the Massachusetts state governor because of the fact that I was very disappointed in the law that she might be signing soon. The law is actually revising the law to actually say that all assault weapons are now any rifle that has a removable magazine. Now, if you recall, literally every single rifle has a removable magazine. Almost every single one here. AR-15, Tavor X95. We have some SIG rifle. Almost every single SIG rifle. I just have no words here. What rifle does anybody own that you load in the... What you even talk... See, that's how you know that Governor Maura Haley, which is the governor of Massachusetts, has never been to a gun range. This is exactly what should happen. Before voting for or against a gun legislative bill, every single one of these people in Congress must, by law, go to at least a gun range 1 hour, for 1 hour before you vote for anything, and see all of the officers at the gun range making sure that you're safe while shooting. You need to look at all of the gun certification classes you need to go to actually get your to get your license in a state like Massachusetts. You need an FID to even get a gun before you're the age of 21. Once you get your FID, you cannot even get a rifle. So I can't get a rifle with a removable magazine right now because I'm under the age of 21. My dad has his license to carry in the state of Massachusetts. So now I can just go to the gun range with him after he purchased the guns. And I don't even know the code to the gun safe because of the fact that I'm not even supposed to legally. So because of that reason, I can't carry a pistol. I can't go and get a rifle. I can't get a shotgun that has more than four rounds inside of it. It's just disgusting. Such a waste of money. I would have just waited until 21 and got my license to carry then, because the firearms identification card in Massachusetts is just utterly disgusting and makes sure that you cannot do anything. So with that being said, right, knowing all of those things, knowing all of the stuff that I had to go through to actually jump through hoops to get my Second Amendment right actually understood in Massachusetts, to have Governor Maura Haley inflict upon my right to actually get a gun after that point, because I passed all the certification classes, I passed all of the law classes, I passed all of the background checks, and now I played by your rules. Now you can't even play by your own rules without adding more rules. What a disgrace. So I left her a message. Here's a message here. With that being said, we're going to end off this episode here. If you did like this and you do want to see a lot more from me, I do post new episodes of my show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.